I gotta say, this is a pretty concerning loss for the Lakers. They lose their last game going into the All-Star break against Utah, which is not a good loss. And then they lose their first game out of the All-Star break against Charlotte. Another really bad loss. This is not how you want to start off the Luka Doncic in LA era by any means. But I do think that this also goes to show the Lakers fans should probably temper their expectations a little bit for what this season could be. Now, I do believe Luka is going to be way better than he has been his first few games in LA. I mean, he has just not been all that good coming off of injury, has not been playing very good basketball. And I think that is a very valid point to make. I mean, it has not been super impressive as of late. I mean, tonight he goes 5 for 18, 1 of 9 from 3, 14 points. He was a plus 13 though, 11 rebounds, 8 assists. And despite a kind of disastrous game in a lot of ways, actually kind of contributed to winning basketball at a pretty high level. LeBron goes 26, 11 and 7. Rui Hachimura had 17 and 8. I mean, the biggest concern is that the Lakers still only have one real big. I don't think I trust Alex Len at this point, although maybe he will prove me wrong. And honestly, Luka's not Luka yet. You know what I mean? Like, he's not the player that he is going to be here in a couple months. And look, this is concerning, yes, but I also think, again, there's going to be an adjustment period, especially when you got a guy like Luka who's coming off injury, hasn't played in a couple months, and yeah, probably isn't in the best shape. I mean, he's in not as bad shape, I think, as the Mavs are making it out to seem, but he's definitely not playing the highest level basketball that we've seen from him. In fact, he's playing some of the lowest level basketball that we've seen from him in these last few games. But I think I have no reason to believe that Luka is not going to relatively quickly turn things around for the Lakers and go back to being the 29, 9 and 9 type of guy that he is. That's one of the 3 or 4 best players in basketball. Like, that is a absolutely likely outcome by the end of this year. But super teams, any team that experiences big mid-season changes, it takes time for those things to be figured out. And the Lakers are 32 and 21. They're 11 games over 500. They have the room in the standings, in all honesty, for it to take a little bit of time. Now, ideally, you're 3 games back of Memphis, 3.5 games back of, or 3 games back of Denver, 3.5 games back of Memphis, and a game back of Houston. You don't want to be losing these games. These are games against bad teams that you should be winning. But all things considered, I don't think, even with the addition of Luka, that winning the title is probably a super realistic outcome for the Lakers season. Now, I could be wrong. Things could change, and it is possible they make a run. I'm not saying that they are, by any means, like, they don't have a chance. But OKC's the best team in the West. It's not even particularly close. And the team like Denver, with Jokic and the championship pedigree that they have at this point, they're going to be a tough out as well. Like, the Lakers are at best, I think, even if you want to be optimistic and kind of ignore these last 2 games, they're at best the third best chance of winning a title in the West realistically right now. But I think at the end of the day, the real thing about this team is, look, at the end of the day, I mean, they don't have great centers. They don't. It's a valid point. Jackson Hayes, Alex Len, Christian Koloko is not a trio of bigs that you trust. But I think that does open the door for a lot of Dorian Finney-Smith and LeBron sharing the front court, or Dorian Finney-Smith and Rui and LeBron on the floor at the same time, and just not having a real center and having a lot of switchability, a lot of synergy. LeBron and Luka are 2 of the best rebounding wing guards, whatever you want to call them, that we've really ever seen. Like, there is going to be, I don't think rebounding is going to be a huge issue, is what I will say. Like, Nurkic tonight played for the Blazers, or played for the Hornets, not the Blazers. What am I saying? Nurkic and Mark Williams played tonight, and Nurkic has 8 rebounds. Mark Williams has 9 rebounds. They, as a team, had 47 rebounds. The Lakers had 50. Jackson Hayes played 18 minutes. Alex Len played 10. That means they played 20 of 48 minutes without a center, and they out-rebounded the Hornets tonight. Like, I don't think they're going to get completely and utterly destroyed on the boards. They might give up more offensive rebounds and more rebounds on a night-to-night basis than they did tonight, but I don't think they're going to get completely and utterly killed on the boards. The interior defense could be a concern, but despite a bad game tonight, there is, I think, positives to take away, and that's the fact that Luka played atrocious, and Austin Reeves got ejected halfway through the third quarter. And I mean, look, it's a brutal loss, no doubt about it. Very bad third quarter. They get outscored by 14 in the third quarter. But I think there are things to take away from it that are positives, which are that it could have been worse. And I don't think the Hornets are a good team by any means. I'm not going to sit here and act like they are, but they were fully healthy as far as they're going to be at least this season, with no Grant Williams, no Brandon Miller likely for the rest of the year on both those. Well, obviously, neither of those guys are going to play the rest of the year. But in terms of how healthy they're going to be, this was about as healthy as they're going to be. And defensively, the Lakers held them to 36%, 34% from 3. They were just horribly inefficient. And on bad shooting nights, this is going to happen. This is a game where I almost feel okay with chalking it up to an anomaly. I know it feels very significant, but But in all honesty, a team that has Luka, LeBron, and Reeves as shot creators and versatility are likely going to get quality of shots on a night-to-night basis that are going to produce far better numbers than 41% from the field and 29% from three. And so I think there is encouraging things there in the fact that they out-rebounded the Hornets tonight, and the fact that the reason they lost was really not because of their defense, was more so just because of a lack of made shots. Luka's going to be much better. Like, this team is going to be a lot better than tonight. So I think it's important to not overreact as a Lakers fan to a bad loss tonight and a bad loss against Utah. But it's also important to not overreact to the addition of Luka and be like, all of a sudden, oh my goodness, we're winning the title. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No, not really. And is it going to take an adjustment time? Absolutely. And that is really my main point in this video that I am trying to make. Now, I don't actually know off the top of my head what the strength of schedule looks like for the Lakers the rest of the season. Oh, wow. They have the hardest schedule left in the league. That is not favorable for them. 2 games still against OKC, 3 against Denver, 2 against Houston, and a game against Boston, Memphis, and the Knicks as well. That's pretty tough. I'm not going to lie. They have the hardest schedule tied with Phoenix left in the entire league. That makes things tougher for them. Realistically, when you look at the Western Conference with the hardest schedule left in basketball, they're probably looking at best case scenario, the 4 seed would be, I guess. I don't think they'll catch Memphis or Denver. Catching Houston seems feasible for a Houston team that in all honesty has kind of struggled as of late, and as good as they are defensively, does not have that number 1 option type guy offensively that I think they're going to need to succeed in the playoffs. This feels like a Lakers team that could very easily make the playoffs as either the 4 or the 5 seed and win a round. The question is going to be, can they do more than that? And the answer to that question is going to be, I have no idea at this point. But I can very confidently say that this is not the Luka Doncic that the Lakers are going to get. And I think that their 3 stars are going to learn to coexist at a very high level. I think that their role players are pretty high level guys for the most part. I mean, I really do like Dorian Finney-Smith, Rui Hachimura, even Gabe Vincent, who's been 40% from 3 now for a while. Dalton Connect wasn't great tonight in terms of efficiency, but his shooting ability is valuable. Jared Vanderbilt's versatility defensively is also really valuable, although he was a minus 17 in 13 minutes tonight, and Connect was a minus 16. Like, neither of those guys played great tonight, but it's okay. At the end of the day, I have pretty high hopes for this Lakers team still. I think there is a balance that has to be struck between the fans who are going to overreact to these losses and the fans who are going to overreact or were overreacting to the trade and be like, oh my goodness, they're the best team ever, they're going to win the title. Like, no, probably not. And it's possible, but with the way the roster is currently constructed, after not winding up getting Mark Williams, which was unfortunate, no doubt, but I think likely long-term for the best, because I'm sure there's a reason that he failed his physical, and there's a reason they rescinded the trade. Like, they wouldn't have done that if there weren't serious concerns. So long-term, that is a decision that makes sense, even if it limits them this season, because Mark Williams would be by far the best center on the roster. He's the type of guy who would really make them a serious title contender. But as of right now, I don't think they have the roster for it, and I think that's okay. Next year, they probably will. This year, we'll see. Luka has the ability, we saw it last year, to carry a team to the finals, and I think he could do it this year too. It's just going to be an interesting season, the rest of the season, to follow with the Lakers and see what happens, and who knows? I'm not going to make predictions right now because I don't know what this team's going to look like, but I do know it'll be better than tonight. That I can say with confidence. So with that being said, that's going to do it for the video. I hope y'all did enjoy it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Be back with more NBA content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.